Well, Alena, welcome into the Raw. You literally, how many times have you had this conversation since you got back to Southland? Is there anyone in Southland you haven't talked to about your Paris experience?
I feel like I've talked to everyone, to be honest, and I've still got the rest of the week booked out, so the rest of Southland to go talk to.
I think your mother does a really good job of getting your appointments, booking your appointments, right?
She does. She's good at booking it, but she doesn't need to come with me. So I've got my dad as my Uber driver, so he's been milling me around Southland.
How good coming back, this time round as well with a second gold medal? I mean, just tell us a little bit about what it's been like since you've got home.
Definitely different to Tokyo. Obviously we had quarantine and it sort of felt like we missed the celebratory period, but it's been nice to be able to come home, and the Olympics are still on, so people sort of know what's happened or what's going on. There's still a bit of energy around the Olympics, so it's cool being able to show heaps of people, not just kids but adults as well. And I went to a kindergarten today. It was so cute seeing all their little faces as well, and what they've been doing to sort of showcase what the Olympics is for them as well.
Does it feel different second time round?
Yeah, I'd say so. I feel like a lot more people know or understand what's going on, so I think it's cool that more people know about us and our team, or the New Zealand Sevens team as well. So we're sort of popping off on TikTok as well, so I think another audience of people are understanding who we are and figuring out who we are as people as well, so it's fun.
I guess does it hit home a little more when you get back to Southland, because that's where it's all started, and obviously I know you had family over there, but your friends back here and whatnot. It hits home of actually just what you've managed to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about it today, like everything that's sort of happened and all my opportunities stem from being here in Southland. So to be able to come back and see people at the academy and people from school and all my family, especially my mum and dad and my parents, to see how they've helped me get to this spot, because obviously it was a long time ago since I've actually lived in Invercargill, but it's cool being able to thank those people who have helped me fundraise all the way back then to help me get to where I am today. So yeah, definitely cool to be able to thank them.
You never know quite what you're going to get with these school interactions. Have you had any sort of hard case things since you've been back?
There's the repetitive questions like, how are the cupboard beds, the muffins, have you met Raygun, the breakdancer? Like, these kids have some out-of-it questions, but one I had today was, are you allergic to anything? I was like, oh, that's a new question that I haven't heard before. So, no, they've definitely keeping me on my toes, so yeah, it's been pretty good.
Are you allergic to anything?
No, nothing.
That's a good follow-up question. Yeah. Needed to get that one covered off. Tell us a little bit, in terms of the whole experience. So it is quite different, right? Because I'm guessing that the Tokyo experience and the Paris experience must be chalk and cheese, with obviously COVID regulations impacting the first.
So for me, going into Tokyo, I was sort of like a call-in. So I didn't really have much of a build-up into Tokyo. So that was my first real tournament after being injured. And then coming on off Paris, being what I feel is part of the core team now, it's pretty different. It's quite nice being in the 12 and being able to play a bit more minutes and getting to feel what the sort of pressure actually feels like to play in the Olympic Games, because that's sort of what I felt this time around compared to the last one, which was a lot different, especially with the crowd. Expectations from home, our team, ourselves, expectation of ourselves. So all that stuff sort of packed on this time around as well, more so than Tokyo.
What about your journey? Because obviously you had the injury, didn't you? You're playing touch, I think. You were injured knee. Was there a moment in that lead up that you thought that Paris might get away from you?
Yep, so I was talking to the kids this morning and I said we were playing a game of touch in our warm-up, and it's just something fun we do. And then I just went to go touch one of the girls, and one of our girls just dived straight at my knee, and I heard it click twice, and then I just thought ACL straight away. And I was just lying on the ground, sort of trying to control my breathing because I started hyperventilating, and I just thought, I don't know if I can swear in here, but frick, ACL gone, like that's my Olympic dream over. So having that initial thought, I was extremely gutted because I had just seen the ACL people that had just gone through it. So people like Sarah, Stubby just went through it, my friend Nat, they all just gone through ACL. So I'd seen at close quarters what it feels like. And to feel like that, it actually felt like I was grieving a death, which is probably quite dramatic, but that's what it felt like to me. And then obviously I had to get a scan done, and the doctor just said, you're so lucky, just the makeup of your knee, it was just your MCL. So after that I was stoked. I was like, oh, there's a bright light at the end of this tunnel, like I can make this happen and come back for Singapore, which is about 2 tournaments out from the Olympics. So I had a really good physio, Peter, who made a plan for me to try and get back, and we just hit some milestones each month and then, got back to it.
So how far out was that you did that injury?
I did it straight after Perth, so it would have been January, early February.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was history repeating itself, wasn't it?
Yeah, honestly. My coaches are like, can you not get an injury before a pinnacle event? I'm like, you're telling me? But it felt like a pattern was sort of happening, and I was a little bit annoyed, but just understanding that I've already gone through it sort of made it a little bit easier, and just knowing that I can do it a second time, it was a bit more.
It'd be nice to get a clear run at one of these things.
I
wouldn't
agree.
It?
Nice building.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully the next one I have, touch wood.
Did it help
that?
Sarah's rehab obviously as well too. So
Yep.
did you do anything in tandem between the two of you, or were you sort of operating in isolation?
No, I think we're a bit different because obviously ACL, MCL, and then we're all on our own journeys as well. So she'll be off doing her own thing, then I'll be off. But we're sort of still around each other, so we'll see each other grinding away on the watt bike, and we started doing some, speed boxing or the speed ball for boxing. We started doing that, just different ways of training, getting in the pool, which I do not like, but had to get done, a bit of aqua jogging, and just trying anything to keep my conditioning up, even though I couldn't use my knee.
Did you get pretty good at that speedball thing?
To be honest, I think I'd be one of the best in our team at the moment. I'm going to put that out there. Against Stacey Waka, she'd probably be like, nah, it's me, but nah. I swear I'd take that over her.
And so physically going into Paris, you felt fully done, or was there voices in the back of your head? How did you feel physically going in?
No, physically, our trainer Murph had put me in a really good spot. So this is probably the fittest, fastest, strongest I'd ever been. And being with Peter, my physio, I was able to work on some niggles that I had pre-injury. So that actually helped in the back end when I was heading into it. And I think for me it was quite nice because I sort of had a break while everyone was still playing. I could still have that bit to just chill, whereas sometimes you could get burnt out at the back end of the long season. So just for me, I'm just understanding that was just a part of my journey and how I was supposed to navigate it.
I guess nice to have the backing of your coaches, the coaching team. You didn't have the full build up in terms of tournaments as the other players, but for them to back you and into putting into that Olympic squad. Yeah,
I think I was actually talking to the academy, and Nathan was there yesterday. One point I said was that I was sort of lucky that I had put myself into the 12 beforehand, so I thought I was in a pretty good spot, and I had done enough to show the coaches, if I can get back to here, I'll be fine, or I'll be whereabouts for where the team is at when they come back. So when I got injured, that was probably my biggest worry, was that people were catching up or they were passing me. So that was my biggest, and always at the back of my mind is that doubt of, am I doing enough to make it again? Because people were swapping positions, so obviously we had Jazzy come in, and then that puts down in my mind, coming in playing working props. So I had a bit more competition than just Georgia, so it was pretty good to have that because it really fueled the fire in the belly to sort of keep training hard.
So you're manifesting that hard out, obviously, during that during the build-up. But then there's a moment when the team gets named. Like, how did that all sort of unfold?
So it's actually a bit like this. We have 3 coaches, and you walk into the room, and then there's this one, our coach Joey. He looks at me. He's like real stern, real serious. But one of my coaches, Ed, he's not looking at me. So I'm like, why is he not looking at me? Like, are they going to tell me no? Like, what? And then I get in, and obviously Stewie, he's because he's been with me since the very start, and he tells me, nah, mate, you've done enough, like, you've made it. And then I just left the room and then called my parents, and it just started crying. I think it was a sense of relief just to be like, I can breathe now, like, selection's done, now I can just focus on the rugby and not have the selection piece sort of biting down my neck in a sense that's always there. So it was nice to be honest, for all of our team to be like, selection's gone, we can just focus on rugby now, because that's a big thing in the build-up.
If we go back, I mean, this is the period and a chance to reflect and that sort of thing before you get back into it. But if you go back 8 years, it's 2016. You're sitting at Girls High, and you're watching that team win silver in Rio. Like, can you believe how far you've come in that time?
I can vividly see it. Like me, I was sitting in calculus watching the girls play, and I was so gutted that they lost. And I think being a part of the group who had lost in Rio and they were building towards Tokyo, it was cool to sort of grow up in that group, because they were hissing to win. Like, there was nothing stopping that group from winning, and that was probably different to this next phase as we won in Tokyo, so we didn't have that sort of edge of we need to win because we lost. So we was trying to figure out how this group sort of keeps on building, and it was still nice having Portia, Minnie and stuff who've been part of that, but it was cool seeing Reese, Sheree and all those girls sort of grow into that leadership space as well, which is sort of my group coming through. So yeah, it's cool seeing that growth in a sense, not just as a kid, as a player, but the leadership stuff as well, because obviously people are retiring now, so we sort of have to fill that space as well, which is exciting but scary at the same time.
Because I mean, you're a prodigious talent across a number of sports at that stage in high school.
Yep.
But I guess what sort of flicked the switch? What sort of made you realise that you could do what you've gone on to do?
For me, I really wanted to be a Silver Fern growing up, and sort of rugby was just always there, and I really loved playing rugby as well, but seeing the opportunities that the netball had just felt a bit more than rugby at the time. Then getting picked up by Otago for nationals, and then sevens, the opportunity sort of just presented itself when I got picked up by Bunts and stuff in 2017. So yeah, they sort of seen the potential before I'd seen it, I'd say. So the girls Portia always tells me that, Len, I remember when you bumped me off, and that's one of the reasons why you made the team. And I was like, honestly, Portia, I don't even remember. She's like, no, I remember that vividly. Like, that was one of the reasons why I swear you were definitely a look into the team, and it's cool. Yeah.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, oh, one of the goats, I'll take that. So it's definitely the coaches seeing the potential in us before we sort of see it. It's just them being able to unlock it within us, and us kind of believing it. At the same time.
I think it's one of those really cool things, and Jace McKenzie, who was on here talking about this very stuff a couple of weeks ago before the Olympics, and obviously with the academy that you've had a lot to do with directly as well too. He always talks about it. If you can see it, you can be it. You know, so there, you must feel that, I guess, and I get a sense that that's there with you as well too. You know, that responsibility almost to be able to show the Alenas of tomorrow. Yeah. You know, even down here in Invercargill or sitting at Girls High in that calculus class. You know, what can happen in 8 weeks? No, 8 months, 8 years. 4 and 8 weeks is a bit quick. You know, in a few years' time, right?
Yeah, probably one of my biggest things is growing up, I never really made those development squads as well for sevens, and I know that that's a big thing for kids these days is they get real disheartened if they don't make those squads. And just one thing I wanted to bring out was for me, I just played really good at one tournament, and it just takes one opportunity for you to get your foot in. So don't be disheartened if you don't make all the squads that everyone else is making, because heaps of girls made those squads too, but they're not in the team now. So just letting them understand that opportunities will come. You just have to keep working, keep your head down, and to be able to just keep grinding it out. So, and just know that opportunity will present itself if it's there.
Because I guess you mentioned before, you know, about the dream as a kid to be a Silver Fern, and that. And I suppose, you know, when you're younger, you know, the pinnacle of women's sport in New Zealand was becoming a Silver Fern, and rugby may have been sort of a side sport or whatnot, but it feels like with what the Black Ferns have done, you know, both in terms of the sevens and 15s, that is inspiring a next generation. And I guess following on what Nick has said, does the team feel that and recognise that that's probably what you have done?
Yeah, I think for us that's what we like to hear, and what we that's what our goal is to really do, is to try and inspire the kids who are sort of coming through. And especially with sevens, there's no real pathway at the moment, so trying to build a way for them to be like, oh, I can play sevens as well, not just 15s, because obviously we have both teams for the women's now. So we're just trying to make a pathway for them and just tell them that there's definitely a way to make it, and that we're still trying our hardest to get a pathway there, but we got a long way to go for girls to be able to do that.
Because there's a kaupapa for the team. You were saying, talking about this last night, around it's not necessarily about the medals, and that's the outcomes, but it's about building up the mana of the jersey, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have a vision that we go by, and that's stamping our mark in history and strengthening the mauri within, so that can be within yourself, within our jersey, and within our team. And that's just the vision that overstems or overlooks everything else. And obviously Olympics is our pinnacle event, but that's a byproduct of what our main goal is. And for us, it's been really cool because we've been able to go inward more than like materialistic, like gold. If we were to lose, we know that when we come home, our family would still love us, our friends would still be there, and it's not just about all the achievements that we get and stuff. So that's something that we really we all bought into right at the start of our season, which was cool, and that we're all in no matter if we made the 12 or if we didn't. So that was our biggest thing that we wanted to do, is just have a vision where we could all buy into it and be like, even if we don't win, we're still going to be sisters. We all still love each other, and that we'll still have each other's backs. And if we get the gold, if we don't, we still love each other and whatnot. So
the country was getting a bit fidgety back here in the early days of the Olympics because we hadn't won a medal on the first day or two.
Yeah.
as if it was just going to happen straight away.
Yeah.
Very impatient, isn't it?
We're very impatient. Obviously, then you girls come out and did what you did. What was it like returning back to the New Zealand sort of camp with the gold medal?
It was so cool. When we finished, obviously it's on some social media, we were hard out cheer-hooing, singing in the bus, just wanting to share our medals with everyone back at the NZ House, back at the Olympic Village. We were proudly wearing our medals too, making them clink and clank wherever. But it was quite late at night, so we couldn't really celebrate with everyone till the next morning at the NZ House. But
They do a really good job of that, don't they? That whole New Zealand House setup,
Yeah.
with athletes returning back and with recognising that performance. It's a pretty special environment that's created on the other side of the world there.
Yeah, it's really cool. Once we come into the village, obviously we get a little pawhiri, we get haka on, and then we get a karanga and stuff, which is cool because it brings a bit of home, and obviously the Māori culture gets intertwined over there, and our team loves that stuff, so we thrive in that cultural sense. So to be able to haka people in, and we can see the emotion of people when they do it back to us, that's probably when we feel the best as well, is when you see everyone's mana, as you would call it, back to us and obviously towards them. And then obviously when we win our gold medal, and then being able to bring that back to them and getting the haka back, that's probably more emotional than ever, because it's just understand that sort of that thing I said before around if we come home without it or not, like we still have family to go back to, so still having that as well is pretty cool.
And to be fair, you kick-started the most successful Olympic campaign in New Zealand history, right? So that's something pretty special, because this is the other thing as well, and I think every individual sport kind of feels this when they go into an Olympic setting, because you're with all these other sports.
Yeah.
So you're normally in a rugby environment, obviously, and then all of a sudden you've got this hodgepodge of completely different athletes of all literally shapes and sizes as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. I know you guys were really focused on
Yeah.
your own individual performance, but did you get to reflect on that any?
Yeah, it's really cool being able to see, like you said, all the different shapes and sizes of athletes, and being able to see our New Zealand athletes, because we obviously don't see them that often. So we got to see the hockey boys, we obviously see our rugby boys, we got to see some gymnasts, some of the athletics. So I got to see Zoe Hobbs. I thought that was real cool, because obviously she's the fastest girl in New Zealand. Like, that's pretty cool to be able to walk around and wear the same uniform as all of them.
Yeah.
So it was nice. If someone was competing that day, we could all go into the NZ House and just watch them all together. So it was nice building that camaraderie as well with the team within the team. So that was cool. Yeah.
You've obviously had the privilege of playing alongside some pretty special players.
Yeah.
There's a couple I'm keen to get your view on. We start with Portia.
Yeah.
They talk about her as being the greatest women's rugby player of all time. What makes her so special?
I think Portia, she understands what her strengths are, and she's able to tap into them straight away in the World Series. I think the other thing she has is that sort of X factor and that fear factor. As soon as people see Portia, you can just tell that they're scared. And the opposition. It just makes me happy when I'm next to her and I'm like, I can just pass Portia the ball and she's going to score, or she's going to chase them down. So she has this sort of aura to her when we walk out, or when we go to the food hall, or when we walk into the field. I'm like, yeah, got you, P. She's like, got you, Len. I'm like, yeah, she does. So it's nice having those kind of players. And sort of as her career's gone on, she's become a really good leader within the team, and she's been really good and really approachable to be able to go talk to, especially towards the back end of her career. She's been real open at giving advice and stuff to girls who need it or who are wanting it.
Nice. I was talking to Neil Hamilton, who knows a thing or two about these things, about Sarah Hirini and her comeback, and I think it's, an ACL's like a 9 to 12 month rehab. She did it in 7 months, which is I don't know if anyone can really get their head around it, but I mean, just obviously a really special person.
Yeah, definitely Sarah. It was a real gutting feeling seeing her do an ACL in Dubai. I think we all sort of held our breath like, what just happened? That's Sarah, that's our captain. So being able to see her rehab and seeing her mindset throughout the whole thing, it was quite cool because we were obviously injured around the same time, so I was able to pick her brain a bit around the rugby side and the injury side and her mental side, just understanding what she's sort of thinking. And she was good at reaching out, and it was nice knowing that even though she's the captain, like she's the leader, it was nice knowing that she was going through the same stuff as me, or whatever I was feeling, she was sort of feeling as well. So it was cool just knowing that she was a human in a sense as well, like going through the same stuff as me. So seeing her grind it out and come out on top. When she told me she had made the team, I started crying because I'd just seen all the hard work that she had done behind the scenes as well. So that's probably something as well that we talk about is to be able to work in the dark so we can shine in the light. So me and her obviously seeing each other at the gym back at home, and you see the girls on TV winning in LA and Vancouver, could be sort of disheartening at times because you're seeing them succeed. You're like, oh, does the team still need me? Like that kind of thing, that kind of doubt sort of comes in your head. But nah, Sarah, she's just built different. She's got a mindset where that just, once she puts her mind to something, she's going to come out the back end of it.
I think one of the things I've seen, because there's a fantastic documentary on YouTube with her rehabilitation from that injury, but what a lot of you guys do so well is engage like that. Like you guys, you wear your hearts on the sleeve. You're not afraid to be who you are and to in public, whether it's on TikTok or whatever. I mean, is that does that come naturally? Is that something that you enjoy doing?
I think that's something our team's built on, and they've praised it in a sense where you can be your authentic self, which is quite nice because probably when I was here in Southland I was really shy, quite timid, wasn't really out there. So being in that team, they've sort of taught us how to be more out there and to figure out what your identity is, because then that can sort of bring out your more authentic self. And we loved the TikTok at the Olympic Games. I thought our team was really good at that, at branding our team out there. So it was good to see that side as well, and not just the rugby side, and people could see our fun side as well.
Yeah, if there was medals for TikTok, you guys would have picked up another gold.
I hope so. No.
How have you gone on TikTok, Sav? Have you?
I have got a TikTok account, but
okay, that's good stuff.
This is news.
But it's sat dormant for.
You've got a champion here actually to get some ideas.
Yeah.
Hey? Now, what was it? Olympic pins. That was a big thing too, right?
Yes.
So collecting Olympic pins. Talk us through that.
So we get given about, I want to say, 20 New Zealand pins at the start of when we first get there, and there's a thing where you just go around and collecting other countries' pins. So I didn't realise this was a thing because in Tokyo, obviously COVID restrictions, we weren't allowed to go and interact with other people. But it was cool. Like once you'd lock eyes with someone, you just knew that they were like wanting to swap pins. It was almost like a speed dating thing. You're like, oh hi, do you want to? Oh yeah, and then you just start yarning and whatnot. So it was cool. It was sort of like collecting Pokemon cards. That's what people sort of referred it to. So it was cool to be able to interact with other athletes, and it became more of a competition who could get the most pins. But I'm pretty sure my friend Tasha won. She got the most. She was doing a lot of side quests to get more pins, which was fun.
Have you got a random athlete or country that you got a pin from that sticks out?
Ooh, for me, it's probably the Olympic refugee team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because obviously they're made up of countries who couldn't compete at the Olympics, so it was cool being able to interact with them and see where they're from and what sport they played.
I think the scary. I mean, you're a Commonwealth Games champion. You're a double Olympic champion, but you don't feel like you've peaked yet, do you? There's quite a bit more to come, and I know you're hungry for more minutes in this team, aren't you?
Yeah, my coach is probably going to be annoyed that I say this, but I got some goals that I want to individually. I think for me, I still haven't. I've got a Commonwealth Games gold, but I didn't feel like I had much input into that one, so I really want to have a crack at the next two and be a real part of the core team in that, and just be in a space where I can be like Portia and help out the new girls that are sort of coming through as well.
Because it's interesting, because you come on off the bench in both the semi-final and the final late in the game. And you think rugby sort of sense guys, or women in the teams get about 10 or 15 minutes to get their head around it and warm up and whatnot. But I guess you just have to be on the go, ready to go at any stage in a sevens game, come off the bench.
That's something cool about sevens is also understanding your role in the team. So we have two people have to play full games and then 5 people can get subbed. And my role in this tournament was to be a finisher or impact player. And then what we want to do is we don't want to let any tries in. And then we just want to be able to hold the game and help those people who have stayed on the whole time. So that was probably the hardest part is when you come on off the bench, you don't really know the tempo of the game because you're sort of watching it. So you don't have time to feel around what's sort of going on. So you just have to go on and sort of figure it out as quick as you can.
Are you just staying warm all the time on the bench?
Yeah, I'm sort of pretty chill. Yeah. I'm sort of just watching to see what my position's doing. So I'm normally just watching Georgia to see where the game's going and if what she's doing good or what I could bring to the game. So that's probably what I more so do than others. Yeah, you probably see me. I look lazy. I just sit on the bench.
Chill is a better way to describe it. Yeah. See, the interesting thing about sevens, and this is going back in the day, right? It was ad hoc, playing ad lib football, and having gas and speed and making breaks, and it was sort of individual brilliance. Yeah. It's a really structured game now, right? And a really technical game. So, I don't know, in a sense of, say, let's talk about a semi-final or a gold medal, playoff. Tell us a little bit about preparation for that from a more technical side of things. I mean, what sort of stuff goes into that for you as a playing group?
So for me, in my game, a lot of an analyst work. So we do a lot of stuff on other teams. As a team we do, so obviously set piece, attack, defence, we go hone in on those 3 areas, and then individually I'll go to whoever's against me and I'll do all of their cues. So then by the time I get on, I'll sort of know what's happening. So just depending on what kind of player you are and how much information you can actually take. Because if you think about it, over 2 days we're playing 6 different teams. You don't want all this information on how many different people, on set piece, attack and defence. So our coaches are real good. They just give us sort of like a summary sheet and then we just sort of have an overview of that and then just add in if we need anything positionally. And then, just go from that. But it's good. Our coaches always make it quite similar for each tournament, so then it's the same by the time the Olympics come and nothing's really different to what we already know.
Were you surprised that you weren't playing Australia in the final? Because I watched the semi-final, went to bed, think I was going to then set the alarm to get up and thought, I'll be watching New Zealand-Australia final, and then all of a sudden Canada pops up. Yeah,
very surprised. We were all watching it because we were recovering by the time they had finished, so we were really intense in the game trying to figure out who we were going to play. And when Canada got the win over Australia, we were really surprised because we thought we were going to play Australia in the final, but big ups to Canada for pulling through on that one and making the final.
I know you would have tried hard not to, but does it change your approach going in, like even subconsciously, do you think, going into that final, not getting the team that you thought you were going to get?
Yeah, I think it definitely threw us off, or threw me off a little bit, because I was obviously prepping for Australia, which is kind of sad to Canada, but then obviously getting Canada again. We've lost to Canada in the past more than once, so that's obviously at the back of our hands, and we know that we can't be complacent even though we had just smashed them like the day before. So we knew that going into this last game that they weren't going to let anything down, and they are the underdogs coming into this team and they'll throw anything at us. So just us being ready for that, and understand that we train a lot. Another team who I was really surprised didn't make the semis was France. In our build up to the Olympics, our coaches actually had a Lele chants with speakers all around our field, because he was like, "Nah, preparation. You're gonna hear this. Like if we play France, that's all you're gonna hear." So that's something we prepped for, but obviously we hadn't had to use it. So it's quite interesting. You prep for something and then something else pops up. I guess that's the beauty of the Olympic Games, is you just don't know what's next.
What was that atmosphere like at Stade de France, like in terms of in a venue and an experience?
70,000 people, crazy. Like you'd look across the stadium and you wouldn't even see faces, you'd see like little dots, and then I'd look down at the team playing, it's 14 little like games, like a video game. It felt like I was playing a video game down on the field. So being able to hear that crowd was pretty cool. But it was surprisingly quiet compared to a normal World Series tournament. I don't know, they were just really well behaved and they only cheered for people either when they're scoring, or did you see when people sort of slowed down the time, or they'd stop at the try line, then they all got
Didn't like
booed.
that.
Yeah, they hated that. That was like the loudest I'd heard them. I was like, if I score, I'm not doing that.
It's good stuff. Although, and I know it's kind of how it works out, but you were literally out the next day.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to hang around, actually.
It would
wouldn't
have been nice to watch a bit
Yeah.
more, but I guess obviously some athletes have to come in and we have to give our beds up to other people. But we were lucky we sort of half packed before and then got kicked out the next day. That's all right.
What was the take us in the into the after game celebrations, or what
Yeah.
you can tell us, because that because the thing that's about Olympics, we talk about this all the time, right? But it's 4 years of blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears. It's
Yeah.
all that work that you put in to get there in the first place again, and it comes down to 14 minutes, so when the release that you must feel after something like that must be something pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was cool to be able to celebrate with my parents and my sister.
Mm-hmm.
They came over as well, and it was their first trip all the way over to France, so I was stoked to be able to share that with them and to see them and to see all our families rock up. We just went to this little pub in Paris and we all just walked in and all our team, all our family cheered for us. So it was nice to be able to just celebrate with them and not the 70,000 people that were there as well. So yeah, it was nice to be able to have that moment with them.
So how long a break do you get now before the team or the squad are back into it?
Yeah, we're back in mid-September. So yeah, everyone's on holiday, about 6 to 8 week holiday. But yeah, it's not really a holiday. I'm gonna start training soon. I gotta stay fit.
How will you? So, what does it look like? What are you planning to do between now and then?
I'll stay home for another week, and then I'll head back up to the mountain, start getting my niggles right again. I got a couple of Achilles problems that have been hassling me for the last year or so. So I'll just go back up and focus on those, and then hopefully head to Bali for a bit, and then get back into training.
Nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the teammates have headed over to the NRLW.
Yep.
I don't know. Was there any approaches and any serious thought about maybe having a wee dabble at that yourself?
Yeah, I'd love to have a go at league. I think obviously Tyler, Stacey, and I'm assuming Portia's going to go over and Tanika going over sort of made a pathway for that. So I guess it's really cool. It just makes it a bit competitive now between NRL and obviously NZ7. So yeah, that's definitely up for discussion with our coach. But I'm signed with Sevens for the next couple of years. So yeah, I got some goals I want to get towards in Sevens first before I head over to league.
I guess just in a women's sports perspective, though, it's great that there's options.
Yeah. I know girls down here are really enjoying league as well, so I'll go talk to them about rugby, but they're like, oh no, we're league girls. I'm like, you know what, that's okay. That's all good, yeah.
Because you have, you've obviously played a couple of games in 15s as well, Black Ferns. Is that sort of something you're interested in having another go at one day?
Yeah, I'd definitely love to have a crack at the World Cup next year. I think that's definitely on the cards, so yeah, it'll just be up for discussion with my coaches, see how that, or if that works in with my schedule next year, and then yeah, I'm sort of just wanting to do anything and everything at the moment. So getting the goal is probably like, oh, yay, tick. So what else is there to sort of chase now?
Yeah.
So you're, and we don't have to dive into the detail too much here, but so you're signed to Sevens.
Yep.
So that's different from just a plain New Zealand rugby setting, so it's literally a Sevens contract, so
Yep.
that becomes your number one priority,
Yes.
obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I signed for a couple of years with Sevens too.
Yep.
So
But you'd have to get released from that if you were to go to a World Cup for 15s? You'd have to get some sort of agreement or something like that.
Agreement, because
Yeah.
it's still under NZ Rugby, so that's
Yep.
in a sense okay. That's what some of the girls in the past have done. But if you go to another sport, I think it's totally different. I'm not sure what that means.
Mm.
Yeah, good stuff. So you sit here, and we talk about the first Southland woman to ever win gold medal, or a double, and then now the first person to ever win a double gold.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you sort of think about when you reflect and you hear those sort of things, and then you get back home and you get the outpouring that you've obviously had as well too. Have you thought too deeply about that?
I keep telling everyone it hasn't really hit me yet. It doesn't really hit me until I go and I go into schools and I go into shops and then I see everyone's reactions to the medals and then them saying, "Oh, we got up early hours in the morning to watch you guys." Like, I don't think I fully get a gauge of how big the Olympics is or how big it was for us and our team, and people were actually getting up and watching us. Like, that's sort of still buzzy to me, because we're in the Sevens environment 24/7. I don't really get a feel of what's actually happening down here. So to be able to come from Southland too, I think that's kind of unheard of, especially being a woman as well. I think that's kind of different and adds a different tone to it as well. So I'm pretty proud of that. To be able to come from Southland and the first woman to do it, to bring back two gold medals is, it's pretty cool, and I'm just glad that I can share it with everyone here as well.
For a first person to bring back two gold medals, it's a fair old effort.
Yeah. Feel free not to stop.
3.
I'll definitely have a crack at 3.
Yeah.
If my body can do 7s for that long,
Good stuff, mate. Well, listen, it's awesome to catch up, and I think not just obviously for what you've achieved over the last 2 Olympic cycles, but also the manner in which you've come back and embraced it down here in home. I think speaks volumes of you as a person, but also the seeds that you're sowing for down the track. I think spectacular. So, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
awesome to catch up, and good luck for your limited off season.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks heaps.